But you need a baseline level of ambition. And that baseline tends to be just very high for these kinds of people. And hand in hand with that level of ambition is they just exude a certain passion for whatever it is that they are building. And I think that's important. And it sounds like simple, you need passion and ambition. But if they didn't have those things and they were rational, they would give up. Knowing how hard and humbling the whole journey can be, the reality is if you're not obsessed with the problem and curious about it to a degree that probably like deters other people if you were just to talk about it with them, you're going to fail, I think, relative to someone who is that obsessed with it. And there is always someone who is that obsessed with it. So there's like another trite, but I think true saying, which is if you're working on something that others perceive to be hard work, but it's something that you yourself find fun and feels more like play, and that you're deeply and innately curious about, that's basically an indication that you are working on something that you can really excel at, because to the degree that you can work on something that is fun for you like that, but looks really hard to other people, then no one can outcompete you because you're just doing it on your own volition.
I love that. I think just being self-reflected, I think that's actually my own career path, is that I myself had a passion for just freedom and financial freedom and the pains of what it caused people in health, relationships, and the like. And yeah, so I guess I can't teach that passion to others to like enthusiastically go after it and try to share that for others.
No.
So
and
it's cool.
It's difficult to find it, but people like Charlie Munger talks about following your natural drift. Steve Jobs talks about that kind of passion. Paul Graham talks about it. It's certainly backed up by the hundreds of founders that I've gotten to learn from that sentiment. And I don't know exactly how to cultivate it, but it is requisite. And so there's kind of like a mentality, but then there's also, where does the opportunity origin come from itself? Where does that founding insight or idea come from? And from that perspective, I think you can be a little bit more specific about where they come from. And the framework that I've used to think about it is the ideas themselves tend to come from within or without. Within refers to people paying attention to their own problems or their own curiosities. And if you try to solve a problem that you yourself experience, the entrepreneurial journey from there is often one of realizing that what you have solved for yourself is useful to other people, because other people most of the time your problems are not unique. And so you can scale whatever it is that you'd worked on for yourself. And that's in contrast to ideas that come from without, which I think is more about trying to observe external forces that come from the world at large, and is about paying attention to, paradigm shifts and the waves of technology. And I think that's where Axuall and my own founding story comes more into play. They were not problems directly felt by me or my co-founders. They were problems acutely felt by healthcare practitioners, but we were able to ask the questions like, why is that the way it is? And we could imagine a future that we thought should exist.